So, Krish, we want you to tweet your profile. What would you say?
I'd probably say curious marketer, knowledge seeker.
And it's an honor too to have you on my show.
Come on. Don't be so formal, your friends.
So, quickly, we'll move to this campaign, that almost became a war cry, Heart Move Bump. One of the most meaningful campaigns of Unilever. It partnered the government for, creating and sustaining positive change that today every company is talking about. And there were a lot of unique things about it, although it was not a marketing campaign, yet it had habit creation. Three brands were supporting it. So if you could take us through the challenges behind the thinking and the innovations that you guys had to come up with. Because yes, it was a lot of commitment from Unilever. Yes.
No, in fact, that's a right statement to make. It was a lot of commitment from Unilever. And I think that is what was the starting point. The organization was very clear that, if Unilever does something, it has to do with the full force of the organization and not probably do it for the sake of doing it. But at the same time, there was a lot of clarity on what we could do and could do well versus what we would not do and would not do well. To be specific, I think what Unilever was very clear was the fact that we have expertise in behavior change and communicating how to do behavior change. Our strengths are in the area of creating communication that can be adapted to mass media. We have the knowledge of media where we can disseminate in a very effective manner to masses. That's a strength that we have. And then there is this entire Unilever ecosystem. Whether you talk right from people who were manufacturing for Unilever to even to, for instance, people who were partnering Unilever in terms of, say, a modern trade channel, for instance, or even say a store, for instance, whoever was linked with Unilever in the way. So there was a massive ecosystem that we had, and what we needed was a great idea, which could then get populated across the entire ecosystem that we were talking about. Yeah. So that was one. Second thing was that what we felt that our biggest assets besides this is our brands. People know our brands, and the brands that participated in this were brands with purpose, with a very clearly defined purpose. So those choices were made. So that's why the choice of a Lifebuoy, the choice of a Domex, the choice of Pureit, because it was in an area which was related to wash. Because if you just see the government agenda, it was the area of wash. So in the area of hand washing, in the area of sanitation, in the area of water purification, and as we went on this journey, we realized all of these things are intrinsically linked. Nation for a true Swachh Bharat to happen, it's important that people understood why the need to drink purified water was there. It doesn't matter who's providing the purified water. Yeah, but as long as consumers understood that purification of water is very important, availability of water is very, very important. Yeah. X number of times in a day. I won't repeat how many because then it becomes a branded message, but washing hands clearly before certain occasions and using a toilet to defecate and keeping the toilet clean. Now if you just hear me, I've given you 4-5 different messages. Now this is what we had to convince consumers, and we also had to do it in a way where the largest stakeholders, the government of India and anybody who was participating in the Swachh Bharat mission felt that this was a meaningful initiative by Hindustan Lever to do something like that. That was the starting point. And that probably got broken down into specific tasks that we had to execute. So the first task that we thought is that, look, let's find a platform where we can, where all the brands probably can come together and say, yes, this is the language that this brand would speak. And that's when the entire idea of Swachh Aadat and Swachh Bharat came. So if somebody go back and ask me, how did the Haath Move Bump film happen? And as you know, good films are written when the creative brief is very, very clear. I think the creative brief in that case was just 4 words: Swachh Aadat, Swachh Bharat. That's not the only thing. There were a lot of debates, deliberations, discussions, a lot of consumer testing that we had done. But all credit to the entire team. And here I say the advertising agencies, the planner, the creative person who worked on it. And of course, our internal team, where we were able to create something which gave the message in gave the message memorably, gave the message in a way which was also enjoyable. And even now, it's almost about more than 5-6 years since we've done that. We are still talking about it. Clearly means it has had some sort of an impact. Yeah. Now, often communication is very difficult to evaluate in terms of what it actually did. It actually changed habits. But at least from what I remember from the data that we looked at, once people saw this kind of advertising, there was some movement towards accepting that yes, we need to change certain behaviors for us to become healthy, for the children to become healthy. And what's also important, Ravi, is we showed children as agents of change in the ad, if you remember. Children as agents of change. Because everything is happening with the kids, what the kids are talking about that. The use of children was for a very, very clear reason, because if the future does not change, there's no point doing anything like this. And we felt that if you use children as agents of change, the message will be much, much more effective. So, which is why if you just see the way the entire lyrics of the song that was crafted, Bimari Ho Keep Come, and then there was some gibberish lyrics that was there. It was all because kids were talking about that. Yeah. So I think that is where the entire intent behind the campaign happened. And then, so that was one. And second is also when I talked about earlier, the commitment that Unilever came in by ensuring that this message reached out to a lot of people, whether it was to television, whether it was to press, whether it was to digital. In fact, if memory serves me right, it was probably the most viewed film, 20 million plus views what it had got. I mean,
wow.
Yeah. Now, after that, a lot of other allied activities also started happening. A lot of allied activities started happening. What one felt is that, look, this is one way of reaching people. There could be other ways of reaching people which could be interesting. And that is when the Swachhata Doodh program came in, where we were able to harness our own factory workers, HUL's own factory workers, to go and spread the message of sanitation in their villages, using as a medium. Again, I'm talking about 7 years back, where prevalence of smartphones were there, but it was not so prevalent in the rural areas. Today, you may find consumers using smartphones, but then the concept of a missed call and getting to hear still there. Yeah. And this is where HUL was able to leverage its technology, I won't say technology, the understanding of how to use mobile as a medium to communicate. Also something which I spoke about in my TED talk about a year later. And that got a lot of traction. I mean, examples of that. And then I think we started work on making a Swachhata curriculum for kids. And I believe some of that work then has been taken forward through collaborations with different partners. And again, this has happened over a period of time. The subsequent team that forward. Then there was this entire work which got integrated with the Suvidha centers, which was creating a facility where in urban India, in the slums areas where the need for sanitation is high, how could an organization like an HUL and then other partners able to, for instance, collaborate, provide a solution that was sustainable. It started with something very small, but then it became slowly became very, very big. And I think that is the commit that happens when organizations commit to something and then see it through. And I was very happy to be a part of the journey.
And do you think, Krishnendu, although this was for cleanliness of the country, something that Mr. Modi himself was involved in, but do you think it impacted the brands also positively, although very overtly the brand association wasn't talked about because it was a habit creation at a grassroots level?
The question is that, did it connect back to the brands? In some way it did, because, when you're talking about hand washing, yes, there is a lifebuoy that was there. But if you see the ad very, very carefully, the mention of the brand actually came in much later way towards the end. So there was no overt brand messaging. Recollect that when we went and asked consumers that, after seeing this ad, what do you think about the brands that participated? Consumers mentioned that yes, they did see brands in a far more elevated level. Also, the other thing which you need to understand is that participating brands, Lifebuoy, Domex, and Pureit already had some parallel programs that were being in their respective areas, which was also one of the why the organization said that these are the brands which are going to lead this behavior change communication. Like has been running hand washing programs, hand washing education programs targeted towards children in villages for many years. For many years, it's been done. So there is credibility that is there. My personal point of view is that it was able to elevate the groups quite a bit.
And it was a much awarded campaign. So no wonder, the effectiveness was seen at many levels. But walking the walk, not just talking the talk. I mean, that's the litmus test of the brand.
ओ सोनू याद रखना हाथ में बम ये हाथ मुंह बम हाथ मुंह बम
अरे क्या हो गया?
हाथ मुंह बम
क्या हाथ मुंह बम?
हाथ मुंह बम नूडल नूडल बबल गम ना चप्पू तप्पी चिड़म कड़ी तबू कोलम पेंडुलम लट्टू से गट्टू बजर बट्टू से हाथ मुंह बम भागो मुर्ग फ्रीक फ्रा ओ आंटी लोग हाथ मुंह बम टिकरी 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 लो टिकरी टिकरी ए क्या कर रहा है से हाथ मुंह बम मुंह बम शुगर मुर्ग फ्रीक फ्रा हाथ मुंह बम याद रखना हाथ मुंह बम गॉट इट हाथ मुंह बम से गट्टू बजर बट्टू से हाथ मुंह बम
परेशान कर रखा है इन लोगों ने। बंद करो ये गंदी आदत। अरे क्या है ये हाथ मुंह बम?
बीमारी से बचने का तरीका
कैसे?
हाथ खाने से पहले साबुन से धोएंगे, मुंह पिएंगे, प्योरीफाइड पानी पिएंगे, बम साफ टॉयलेट में शौच करेंगे।
गुड हैबिट।
ये गंदी हैबिट नहीं, गुड हैबिट है।
सॉरी।
इट्स ओके।
स्वच्छ आदत स्वच्छ भारत, हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर की पहल।
Now, Project Shakti. What was the thinking behind it, Krishnendu?
I'll tell you one conversation I had with the gentleman who was leading Project Shakti and my first boss, an outstanding person, Mr. Sharad Dhal. And he just called me to a conference room one day and said, "Achha, you sit down here, you do some thinking with me." I said, "Tell me what you want to do." And, we discussed a lot. And I remember that in that conversation, one most important thing came out, which is something which I've always remembered. Yeah. Project Shakti was an employment opportunity for in rural India. There were very limited options. You could do some cottage industry kind of a thing. You could do an extension of agriculture. If you were educated, perhaps you may get a bank job or a government job or become a school teacher. There were very limited opportunities for them.
Yeah.
What HUL at that point of time felt is that Project Shakti is nothing. It's not a CSR activity. It is a project which will help women get employment. And that is the pitch that was made. Yeah. What was the thinking if we were to go back? Now when you see what the thinking was twofold. One was that how could the organization further reach into deep rural India? Yeah. Distribution, correct. HUL always had very strong reach, urban and rural, but this was saying, how do we get a level deeper? Some of the thinking was inspired by Grameen Bank of Bangladesh. Professor Yunus, if I'm not mistaken. They had done some landmark work, and he was also awarded with the Nobel Prize, if I'm not mistaken. Done some landmark work in extending microfinance to the poorest of the people in deep rural in Bangladesh. And I think some of the inspiration came from there. What we said is that here is the prospective customer, which is, say, a woman in rural India and her family. Yeah.
Yes.
She is looking for an employment opportunity, or let me put it this way, a business opportunity. Yeah. So exactly. So we used to call them Shakti entrepreneurs. Shakti entrepreneur was the word. A person wants to do business in rural India. HUL is giving a business opportunity for you to become a distributor of your products. There is a microfinance institution, which is either the state bank or a regional rural bank, or even the respective state governments, which was giving a lot of support to self-help groups You put all of these things together, when you look at that intersection, what one realizes is that if one were able to give a business opportunity to a woman from a self-help group who's interested in becoming an entrepreneur, and this entire ecosystem would come together in terms of a business opportunity, credit extension, and an employment opportunity, it's a win-win for everyone. And that is how the genesis of the idea started. Then Chief Minister Mr. Chandrababu Naidu was very supportive of that. And a lot of help came from the state government because they were also looking at where they could give employment opportunities to self-help groups. So the entire thinking started there. So when women in rural India became distributors for HUL products, it did 3-4 things for them. One, it gave them a sustainable income, not seasonal by and large. They're not seasonal by and large. Matlab, people keep saying, sabun tel to tum kharidoge roz na. So that is number one. Second is that, it gave HUL as an organization the opportunity to deepen distribution. And create markets, get its products to households in deep rural India who may or may not have had access to it. Third, one of the issues that HUL as an organization that time used to face was a lot of counterfeits. And perhaps I don't know how bad the problem is, but at that point of time, there were a lot of counterfeits. So you give consumers access to quality products. And finally, what I realized through what my experiences were, the family that was doing business over there in the village got elevated in the social system. Then it started getting rolled out in different parts of India. And then over a period of time, it's significant scale. And if I'm not mistaken, it's probably about 80 to 100,000 villages in India. And if you see the total number of villages in India is 6 lakhs. So you can just imagine the kind of reach it has already made. The other interesting, by the way, was the fact that, there was an opportunity for a one-to-one connect with the consumer. The regions in which this model was operating were media dark regions. Internet was what it was, right?
We are Y2K, so we know.
We are Y2K, so we know. So there was no internet. Okay, people would say, "Sir, tower nahi hai yahan pe." So jahan pe tower nahi hai, wahan pe how do you create brand power? Is something to be thought about. So I think one of the things that the organization at that point thought was that could we, for instance, influenced by some thinking about how direct selling organizations work, could we train the Shakti entrepreneurs to become brand ambassadors? Like, for instance, it's one thing to go and sell it in an outlet, but when you go to a household, then two things happen. One, you develop a connect with the household. Second is that a local person is coming in saying that this is a brand of toothpaste you can use, this is a brand of detergent powder you can use. Then the power of and one-to-one impact becomes very stronger. And also, directly from home to home, the Shakti entrepreneurs made more margin also, because that entire margin was something that they could keep. So therefore, it was more profitable. So an entire team was made, and this is where the thinking came. And an entire team was made whose job was to them to sell. So it was very, very clear that onboarding has to happen. They have to be trained. They have to be told what products are there, what is the landed price. When you go and sell it to consumer, this is the price. What will be the spiel for each of the products? So there was a huge team that was supposed to be doing all of these things, because we realized that you may even get a family to invest in the business. You may want to become an entrepreneur, but if you do not train them, if you do not build capabilities, you will be able to have a sustainable model. Which is why dropouts would have happened in the program. Of course, these are things the organization did not know from day one. They learned, they discovered, and they changed. They learned and changed. So I spent about 2-3 years in the eastern part of India setting up Shakti in West Bengal and Odisha. And specifically Odisha, where the overall income levels are relatively lower, getting families to invest, or Shakti entrepreneurs to invest in the business was a challenge. So, but it took a lot of time. It took an understanding of the local economy. It took an understanding of, who are the right kind of people who would be interested in a business like this. Who are, one of the things we found out is that you may get some. Exactly. So we even made a profile of, this is a bullseye person to be targeting. Because one of the things we realized that if this person is not confident to go into home-to-home selling, the person won't be able to do business. And how did we do, and then we came up with a criteria of identifying that. And this is something I remember one of my sales officers telling me. He told me कि sir, when you go to a meeting of a self-help group ना, वहाँ पे जो सबसे ज्यादा बात बोलती है ना, आप उसको शक्ति because वो confident है.
Yes, Krishnendu, and whatever the social impact of something like this, a lot of women acknowledged that the fact that she had money in her hands, that she was earning, after so many years, she started getting respect in the family. She started being consulted for purchase decisions, and look at what it does. I mean, for her to have some disposable income, the fact that she is keeping some money out for nutrition of her kids, she is becoming particular about education of the kids. Just like you said that kids are the change agents in the previous campaign. I mean, this is a huge thing, and it's so amazing to know that you were, you were part of setting up the foundation of something like this,
Wherever we succeeded, we were able to elevate the profile of the lady in the house quite significantly. For her to be genuinely empowered and contribute equally to a family was a very, very big achievement. Besides the fact that, there was growth, there was distribution. See, those metrics will always be there. But I think what made Project special was it was business with purpose.
Krishnendu, it was an absolute pleasure to have you and listen to your brilliant insights and very interesting perspective.
My pleasure, and I'm really amazed by what you've been doing, Ravi. I mean, it's good to see a fellow classmate doing this, and I'm sure it must be taking a lot of courage and a lot of resilience for you to do what you're doing right now. And I'm very happy to be a part of the platform, and I wish you the very best. May your tribe grow, may your channel grow, and propagate whatever little we know towards the larger world. Okay, so please subscribe, like, and share Jagged with Ravi. It's a lot of fun.